What is going on, guys? John here from John's Fishing Channel. Thanks for tuning in. Got another special episode this week for you. No fishing. I've been just super busy and didn't have time to get out on the water. But I am going to be talking about Ripn Lipz today. These are actually the custom hard baits. It's www.ripnlipz.com. That's RIPNLIPZ. My friend Zach over at Ripn Lipz, he's the owner and operator of the website, actually makes his own baits, and he's the same guy who made the custom Halo controller for me on John's Games channel. Check him out. He does really, really cool stuff. He sent me some awesome fishing lures and a bunch of rubber worms to test out on my fishing channel, so I'm just going to be showcasing them to you today. And we'll be wrapping up today's video by talking about a special upcoming fishing trip that I have planned that should be really, really fun. First off, we have a lipless crankbait, which is a sinking bait that'll swim along the bottom of whatever lake, river you're fishing. And it looks actually pretty cool. And here is a close-up of the bait. It's a black color on top, and it has a green to light green finish on it. Red eye, really, really cool. Like I said, it's sinking. It's pretty heavy. You'll cast this out, you'll let it sink, and then you'll retrieve it. And it's a crankbait, so there's a couple different retrieves you can do. You can do slow fast, you can jerk it in. You can do a lot of different stuff with this bait. And I'm really, really looking forward to getting a chance to try it out. Next up, we have a floating square bill crankbait that will swim at a depth from 3 to 6 feet. It's 3/8 of an ounce, and I don't know if I'm really showcasing the color variation and the paint job of this crankbait. Here you can see we have the square lip on it. The detail on this lure is absolutely amazing. It makes a little bit of rattle in there, so it'll drive the fish nuts. They'll be able to hear it. I think this will also be a great bait to use at night, because one of the keys to night fishing and having success is using something that makes noise. So again, it's a square bill crankbait. It floats until you start reeling it. It'll swim at a depth from 3 to 6 feet. And last but not least, we have a shallow dive crankbait, which again floats. This is a little bit lighter, very sparkly, and again it's got that rattle in it, so it makes just a nice little sound when you're retrieving it through the water. And this will actually swim a little bit shallower, from 1 to 3 feet in depth, and that paint job just looks great. And now we'll take a look at the soft plastics that he sent me. This is a custom crawdad. It's got kind of like a smelly gunk on it too, which is pretty cool. It's fire red and black, which is just a great color. This would be fantastic for largemouth bass, smallmouth bass. Anywhere, you know, you're gonna find crayfish in the environment that you're fishing in. This would be just a killer bait to use. And here we have a watermelon green, soft plastic worm with kind of a tapered tail there. Really, really cool. And again, it's infused with that scent that'll just drive the fish nuts when you fish it out there. And I would say that this is maybe a 3 to probably a 4-inch worm, it looks like. Here we have a Twitch minnow, custom plastic soft bait. This is, of course, made to mimic a minnow and look a little bit more like a minnow than a worm or a leech, and you kind of just throw it out there, work it along the bottom nice and slow. I think do it probably either wacky style, drop shot it, or you can just run the hook through the head of the plastic there. And it has a split tail there, gives it a little bit more action as you're working it along the bottom of the lake. This is a purple worm with a yellow tail, and it is infused with the Ripn sauce, which drives the fish nuts. They smell that bait in the water. It lets them locate this really easily. And this is a finesse worm, so you just kind of want to work it nice and slow, wiggle it around a little bit, fish it back to the boat, and you should definitely have some success. And here is the last of the freshwater plastics that I received. This is a purple crawdad with a red tail. Again, fantastic for largemouth, smallmouth. You know, any environment you're fishing in that has a crawdad in it, this will probably do the trick. And it looks like just a great little bait. And here's the last of the plastics that my friend Zach sent me. This is a saltwater formula, which is something they put together especially for saltwater fishing. So these are red worms, I would say 4 to 5 inches. And of course they are the special saltwater formula right there. So I'll be going out in the ocean and trying these out at some point in the near future. And starting next week, I will be in Minnesota. Nikki and I are both headed back to Minnesota. We're bringing Iris with us, and I'm going to take a couple weeks and cruise up to northern Wisconsin and fish a couple lakes and rivers up there in the Hayward, Wisconsin area. And this year will be a little bit different for me because I'll be fishing a lot of different local lakes in the area, and I'll actually be giving you the name of the lakes, the location, where you can find them, where they are, what's in them, what I'm fishing, how I'm fishing. Whereas last year I was fishing a lot of small private lakes in the Hayward area, and a lot of the lakes that I was out on, I kind of had the agreement with the people whose property I was using to access the lake is I wouldn't give out the name of the lake or where I was fishing, even though they're private. A lot of the people still just didn't want me to give that information to you guys, so I do apologize, but it was just kind of part of the deal that I set up to go fishing on those lakes. I'm really looking forward to this trip. I'll be fishing the Chippewa River, hopefully the Flambeau River, as well as Mineral Lake, Day Lake, Lake Namakagon, Lake Owen, and a couple other lakes around the Hayward area, like I said. I'm really excited to get back into my element of the upper Midwest freshwater fishing. We'll be doing largemouth, smallmouth, maybe some walleye, hopefully some muskie, some northern pike, and we'll just be pulling in the fish pretty much the whole trip. And I'll be shooting a ton of video footage, and I'll be using the footage again to upload my weekly videos throughout the year. So, as for now, I've got some packing to do. I'll be putting all my stuff together, getting on a jet plane, and taking off to Minnesota within a few days, and I will be hitting the water pretty much as soon as possible. And I think this trip will be a little bit interesting too, because I'll be doing some cold weather fishing as well as some warm weather fishing. We'll be chasing some spawning bass, as well as some spawned out bass, walleye, and hopefully we'll get a muskie or two in the boat this trip around. As always, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to John's Fishing Channel. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to comment below, and we'll see you next week with fishing from northern Wisconsin. James!